I present to you the AOC C32G2E. The AOC C32G2E. Hey guys, what's happening? My name's Native Potato and welcome to Guru Geek. So recently AOC sent me out one of their C32G2E gaming monitors to check out. I think these retail from anywhere between 400 to 500 Australian dollars, which is like 270 to 350 US dollars, I think, if my conversion rate's correct. But that being said, the Australian dollar is pretty bad right now. Just reading off the box, we have a 32-inch curved monitor, has a 1500 radius curve. It is full HD, which for a 32-inch monitor is a little bit disappointing. You probably want something that's at least 1440p, especially if you're up close. It has 165 Hz refresh rate, which is pretty damn amazing, a 1 millisecond response time, and I believe the brightness is 250 nits, which isn't incredible, especially if you're in a brightly lit room, such as a studio or an office space. But if you're a gamer like myself, you're probably in a dark room, you hate the light, this is perfect, everything will be fine, I promise. That being said, let's open it up. Alright, what do we got? What do we have in the box? So we've got a standard power cable. It plugs into the back of the monitor. Obviously, this is the Australian model, so we have the standard Australian plugs. I've got like 1,000 of them. Looks like we get a DisplayPort as well, which is pretty nice. I also have 1,000 of these. And a cute little book with a CD. Do you remember when we used to use CDs? Does anyone have a CD optical drive anymore? Does anyone have an optical drive? I'm sure there's a lot of stuff on there. Sorry for all the rustling, by the way. Got it. The base is quite nice as well. They've got like a kind of, it's like a black finish with some red stripes. I mean, we all know that red makes things go faster, so you've got to have the red stripes, of course, right? It is all toolless as well. It's got a nice metal finish on the bottom, a couple of little pads there so it doesn't go slip and slide in everywhere. And it looks like it just pretty much just sits in. I mean, it just sits in like that, and then there's toolless assembly, which is great, because I don't have tools, and tools are just stupid. So this is the stand, fully assembled. It doesn't have any swivel options, it doesn't have any height adjustments. It's basically just got your kind of rotation here slightly. You can lift it up, push it down. So nothing special there, but it's still sturdy, it still looks nice. All right, let's get this open. I get really nervous opening things because I don't have the best of luck, and I feel like I may break it, and I don't want to break it. AOC, look away. Look away, AOC. Look away right now. Okay, I got it. I got it. It's okay. It's okay. Everyone chill. Oh, God, it smells good. Does anyone else do that? Anyone just like smell things? Do you grab things and you smell them? Especially new things? I love smelling new things. Here it is. It's sturdy, it feels good, it feels good. I could barely fit this thing in the shot. Alright, let's see what we got here. It looks like we have 2 HDMI ports, a DisplayPort, a VGA port in case you needed that, a headphone jack, and then you've got your power port. So it's all pretty standard stuff. It looks nice, it's got a nice finish. It also has toolless assembly as well, it would seem. Possibly, maybe, possibly. Would you look at that? This thing is literally huge, it barely fits on my desk. Where am I gonna put this? Do you want it? You want it? There you go. The bezels on this are actually quite nice. They're super thin. You won't be able to see them until we turn them on, but it's only a couple of millimeters wide, which is really, really nice. Looks like the buttons for the panel are down here as well, underneath. See them on the side, up there. I would point, but I would drop this. So far, overall, with the build quality, I'm really impressed. They always seem to make a nice finished product. Maybe the stand is kind of a little bit overkill. It kind of comes out and takes up a lot of space. I feel like maybe that could be a little bit more minimal. Other than that, it looks good, it feels good, it smells good. Let's turn it on, let's have a look. One of the first things I noticed when turning on this monitor was the fact that it has really good contrast. It has a 3000 to 1 contrast ratio. It is a VA panel, so you're probably gonna get a little bit more contrast. Another thing I did notice as well was that the default white balance seemed a little bit off. It has a bit of a warm feel to it. I mean, that might be your thing, but I feel like it didn't seem natural when turning on the monitor. But let's have a look. Let's jump into the settings and see what kind of options that they have. It looks like there's a couple of various preset modes. You've got FPS, RTS, Racing, Gamer 1, Gamer 2, and Gamer 3. So I'm assuming that the Gamer ones are all the same preset, they're just maybe adjustable in the settings themselves. And then you've just got the standard native panel feature there as well. So we've got the menu down the bottom. There's a lot of settings here. It is actually a little bit quite overwhelming. So we've got the luminance setting here. We're gonna jump into that and have a look and see what there is. So at the moment, it's set to contrast, the default's contrast 50. The brightness is set to 90. Remember how I was saying before, this monitor has a brightness of 250 nits. So if you have a look at this, currently the brightness is set to 90. If we turn that up all the way to 100, that's as bright as the monitor is gonna be. It's not gonna work the best if you're in a well-lit environment, like an office space, a studio, there's a lot of natural lighting possibly. But in terms of a dark setting, maybe you're in a dark room or you've got a lot of ambient lights, it's gonna be absolutely perfect. Look in here, we've got the eco mode, which we can change from text, internet, game. Honestly, all it looks like it's doing is changing the brightness that we've got down here. Sports, reading, black and white, so that changes the saturation as well. So leave it as standard, we'll have a look at that. We've got gamma modes as well. So we'll have a look through this. This is Gamma 1 at the moment. We'll change it to Gamma 2. It looks like it slightly brightens the monitor at the cost of a bit of contrast. Gamma 3 seems to be a little bit darker than Gamma 1. It also has HDR mode as well, so let's flick that on. We've got HDR picture, and you can see it really brings out the picture there. I mean, I can see it. I don't know if you can, but I can see it. So moving over to the next option on the menu, we have color setup. And remember how I was saying that it seemed a little bit warm when I turned it on? The default setting, color temp, is actually set to warm. So I would probably change that. I'd probably just leave it on normal for now, because you can see it's actually quite yellow when it's set to warm. So if we left it to normal, I mean, this is all personal preferences, depends on what you're doing with the monitor, what you're playing, all sorts of things. You can adjust it to suit what you're doing. There's another option here, picture boost, which I think, so it's on there. I don't know if you can see, but in this corner, you see that little box there? It's just a tiny little box that lights up. I guess it's if you're playing a specific game, or maybe you want to focus on a certain part of the area. I don't know. I mean, for instance, if you play League of Legends, you might want to have that set to where the map is. That way the map is a little bit brighter and you can see it a little bit more. It stands out. I don't know. I personally wouldn't use it. I don't know what you would use it for. If anyone has any suggestions on what they might use it for, that would be really awesome. Let's check out the frame counter. Okay, so go over to the side here. Frame counter, let's check it out. After enabling it, I didn't see anything pop up. I've set it to the top left corner. There's nothing at the top left corner, but I'm assuming you need to be inside a game. The next setting over, we've got our game setting, which I'm assuming will allow us to change the various game modes that we were looking at before. If we leave it on game mode off, I think it gives us a little bit more controllability on all the settings there. So shadow control, I believe that turns up and down the darker areas. So it detects the darker areas on the screen and actually brightens them. So if there's games where it's quite dark and you need a competitive advantage to see in some of the darker areas over other players, I think that just allows you to turn up the turn up the brightness of the shadow areas. So I mean, you would never put it to 100, but it just gives you an idea. And you can also turn down the darkness as well. So I'm just gonna leave that at 50. I think that's kind of preference, and depending on what kind of game you're playing as well. Game color we've got over here. I don't know what this does. Okay, so it looks like it brings up the saturation a little bit. So the higher it is, the brighter it appears via the saturation. So I'll bring that down. Yeah, so if we turn it down to 0, it's black and white. So this is basically just a saturation. Low blue mode, so that turns off some of the blue light that's emitted from the screens. Going through the settings as well, we've got a overdrive setting, which I believe reduces a bit of the smearing on the screen. I usually leave that probably about the middle on medium. I feel like if you put it on too strong, it just becomes really sharp and it just doesn't seem natural. Moving over to Freesync. So this is a Freesync monitor. I believe it is adaptive sync, so it will work with your NVIDIA cards as well, so you can have that option too. One thing I will say about the panel down here, I find that it's really hard to navigate. Maybe a kind of a directional pad interface might be a little bit better, but I mean, it does the job anyway. I think also as well, I wouldn't personally have the animation. See how there's an animation when it moves there? I mean, it does add a nice touch, but it also distracts as well from some of the settings that you're trying to set. But I'm pretty happy with how this is set up now. I feel like with a bit of adjustment, you can make it look really nice. Remember how I said there was no frame rate before? Here it is. Hey little guy, where did he come from? Where did he come from? So opening up my computer here, you can see a little bit of trailing on the monitor, unfortunately. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera. Everything obviously looks different to my eyes than it would your eyes, and through a camera as well. And then when you compress everything through YouTube. So you kind of got to take my word for it. But there is a little bit of trailing here. I feel like the overdrive mode has helped a little bit, but you can still notice the trailing. Let's open up a game, let's have a check and see what it looks like. Straight away, it does actually look really nice. I find that the blacks really stick out. There's the deep blacks in this as well. I'm playing Overwatch. I don't actually play Overwatch. I have no idea what I'm doing. Moving around quickly, it's very responsive. It feels really, really nice. There is a little bit of smearing, but it's not actually too noticeable. So let's have a look at some of these different preset options and see what they look like and see if they're even worth using. Go into game setting, we'll change this. It's currently set to off. We don't have any settings on, so let's play around with it. This is FPS. I'm finding that with the FPS option enabled, this is FPS on, it looks like that the contrast actually sticks out a little bit more. There's a lot more detail in the image. If we go over to RTS, there's a lot more saturation, so the colors actually pop out a bit more. All in all, it's actually pretty impressive. I'd like to see a little bit more brightness. It's responsive, it feels good. It doesn't actually look too bad. Remember how I said that maybe a full HD at 32 inches this close might look a little bit blurry? It actually doesn't look bad at all. Moving into some of the darker areas, you can really see how it stands out. I mean, I don't know if you can, but you can really see how some of the contrasting darknesses look really nice in this game. If you're looking for something affordable, well made, and good value for money, I probably wouldn't look any further than the AOC C32G2E. Still a mouthful to say, damn. I got it though, I got it, you saw that, I got it. It's a 32-inch full HD monitor. It has a 1500 radius curve, which really brings you into the content. It has a 250 nits brightness, 3000 to 1 contrast ratio, 1 millisecond response time, 165 adaptive sync. So I'd say this monitor is perfect for people who are looking for a really nice gaming experience on a budget. Let me know what you think about the monitor. Let me know if you have any questions. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. If you want to have a chat and ask some questions about this, I'm going to be using it in my setup. Let me know. I'd love to have you there. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is the only possible chance I have to make it across.